cleaning toilets with the CEO. My family went bankrupt, and my parents decided the best response was to take what money remained and jet off on a world tour, leaving my brother and me to fend for ourselves like a couple of abandoned puppies. One day, I received a massive box of luxury skincare products. Turns out my brother had landed himself a sugar mama. Bro, we're siblings here. If you're getting rich, how about bringing your sister along for the ride? My brother Marcus has been rolling in cash lately. He bought himself a Mercedes Maybach and even got me a huge care package during Black Friday. Today, he walked in carrying this enormous box, tilting his chin toward it with a smug expression. Sis, this is a gift for you. I grabbed scissors to open it, and inside was nothing but premium skincare products, the expensive kind I could never afford. I stared in disbelief. This is all for me? He gave me a proud little I shakily walked over and hugged his leg. Marcus, have you been keeping some rich older woman on the side? Please, I'm begging you. Teach me how to land a billionaire too. My dad's investment ventures failed spectacularly, and our family company went under. Instead of sticking around to help their children through the crisis, my parents grabbed whatever cash they could and disappeared on their dream vacation around the world, leaving Marcus and me to survive on our own. To cover basic living expenses, we both had to find jobs. I have to say, our parents' genes were like a cruel joke of extremes. Marcus had been a heartthrob since childhood, always surrounded by admirers of every gender. Meanwhile, I was painfully average-looking, but somehow convinced myself I was God's gift to humanity just because I was Marcus's sister. People called me the delusionally confident girl. At the office, my coworker Rachel sashayed over with exaggerated hip movements, her tone dripping with fake sweetness. Emma, was that gorgeous guy who dropped you off in the Maybach this morning your boyfriend? Could you maybe introduce us? I frowned and shut her down immediately. No comment. What a joke. Even if the guy driving the Maybach wasn't my brother, and even if he were my boyfriend, why would I introduce him to her? Stingy, she huffed, glaring at me before stomping away. I rolled my eyes. Rachel and I had never gotten along. She clearly didn't like me, but since I'd only been here 3 months and just gotten off probation, I had to tread carefully. After work, I gathered my things to go clean toilets. Yes, our company had this barbaric policy. Late once, clean toilets once, and lose pay. Late twice, double the pay cut and more toilet duty. Today, I'd overslept and forgotten about work. I begged Marcus to drive me in his shiny new Maybach, but I still arrived 30 minutes late. Outside the restroom, I leaned against my mop, chatting with Ethan, who was hunched over connecting a hose to the faucet. Hey Ethan, how late were you today? Ethan glanced at me coolly, finishing with the hose connection. 30 minutes. I perked up and patted his shoulder enthusiastically. Same here. What are the odds? Ethan's shoulder tensed, and he gave me another cool look. Ethan and I had started on the same day, but he'd gotten off probation in less than a month, while I was still struggling after 3 months. I complained to my friends that Ethan must have some inside connection. How else could someone transition off probation so quickly? He overheard my complaints. His expression didn't change, but I caught a flash of something calculating in his eyes before he scoffed at me. I'm pretty petty, so every time I walked past his desk after that, I'd give him the same scoff back. He had this cool, aloof personality, what people nowadays call a typical straight guy with zero emotional intelligence. But he was undeniably handsome, tall at 6'2", broad shoulders, narrow hips, and when he wore his gold-rimmed glasses, he looked like a refined gentleman with a dangerous edge. Our company voted him Most Attractive Guy, though that title sounded a bit weird when you said it out loud. Pretty boy. Have you never done housework before? I asked. Ethan frowned, removing his gold-rimmed glasses. His voice was measured. "Don't call me that." I could tell he was annoyed, so I pursed my lips. "Oh, pretty boy." I was doing it on purpose. Everyone else could call him that, but when I did, he got all moody about it. I watched him struggle with the water connection, water spraying everywhere because he couldn't tighten it properly, soaking his shirt. "Are you some kind of rich boy? Can't even handle basic chores. Next time, learn from your big sister here. A few more toilet cleaning sessions and you'll get the hang of it. It seems like you have zero remorse about being late," he said dryly. What kind of comment was that? I was only occasionally late. I reached over and took the hose from him, ignoring his sarcasm. With a firm twist, I tightened the connection and turned back to him with a triumphant smile. "Watch and learn. I'm about to demonstrate the art of toilet cleaning." I dragged the hose into the men's room and started spraying everything down. "There's someone in there," Ethan said quietly beside me, his voice coming out like a nasal hum, hesitant. "Relax, it's empty." I checked, I declared confidently, continuing deeper into the restroom. "This is the men's room," he pointed out. I paused. Suddenly, there was a loud bang, and our manager, Mr. Morrison, emerged, completely soaked and looking like a drowned rat, his face thunderous. Startled, my hand jerked, and in my panic, my directional sense failed me completely. The hose aimed straight at him. Mr. Morrison was forced to endure a full toilet water baptism, drenched from head to toe. Drip, drip. He walked through the spray, brushing aside obstacles, his face dark as he approached me. "Emma Walsh, Ethan, you two are responsible for all the restrooms this month." Mr. Morrison roared at us in fury. After delivering this pronouncement, he completely ignored my puppy dog apologies, snorted coldly, and stormed off. I stood there so embarrassed I could have dug a hole and disappeared into it. "I'm so sorry," I said to Ethan with an awkward laugh. Ethan remained silent, not even bothering to lift his eyelids. He shook his head. "I'll handle it." He took the hose from me. I felt terrible. To apologize, I told him I'd treat him to dinner tomorrow. He didn't respond, so I took that as a yes. Nursing my wounded pride, I headed home. I was shocked to find a gorgeous woman sitting in our living room. She looked like a goddess who'd descended from heaven. I could honestly say she was as beautiful as Scarlett Johansson. Marcus introduced her as his girlfriend, Olivia. What an elegant name. Standing together, they were perfectly matched. Handsome man, beautiful woman. She'd brought me a whole set of Hermes perfumes as a gift. I was absolutely smitten. Since our family's downfall, I hadn't dared spend money on anything expensive. She mentioned that her family had acquired the company where I worked just a few months ago. I immediately grabbed her hands, tears in my eyes. "Sister-in-law, does your family have any single men? Please, have mercy and set your sister-in-law up." Her eyes lit up. "Emma, you're single too?" Yes. I've been single for 25 years. Olivia clapped her hands together. "Perfect. I have a brother I could introduce you to sometime." We exchanged contact information, and after she left, I immediately stalked her social media. I went in happy and came out worried. Her posts had no trace of Marcus anywhere, just photos with various other men's silhouettes. "Marcus, she's got all these different guys. Aren't you concerned?" What I really wanted to say was, step up your game before she dumps you. I didn't want to be that harsh. The moment his face darkened, I quickly reassured him. "Never mind, my brother's the most handsome anyway." He looked even more exasperated. The next day, after finishing toilet duty, I was packing up to leave when Ethan blocked my path, looking resentful. I suddenly remembered my dinner promise from last night. "Oops, I'd almost forgotten." I asked sheepishly, "How long have you been waiting for me?" He gave me that cool look again, with just a hint of reproach that you'd miss if you weren't paying attention. Not long. Ethan was a man of few words, deep and mysterious. Rachel used to throw herself at him because of his great body, good looks, and air of mystery. But one day, Ethan frowned and asked her, "Ma'am, do you need something?" I was drinking tea when I heard this and immediately spit it out. Savage. "Where do you want to eat?" he asked. I scratched my head awkwardly and quickly pulled out my phone to find a restaurant. To show my sincere apology, I picked an upscale steakhouse. Unfortunately, when we arrived, we ran into Marcus and Olivia on a date. Naturally, we ended up sharing a table, but the atmosphere was incredibly awkward. "Brother," Olivia suddenly said, and I quickly looked up. "Oh, how romantic, calling Marcus brother in public?" I winked at my brother, and while he looked confused by my expression, I was startled by Ethan's quiet. Huh? I stared wide-eyed at Ethan, who was looking down at his menu. I swallowed hard. "You called him brother?" I looked between Olivia and Ethan. Olivia nodded. "Yes, Emma, he's my brother, our family's eligible bachelor. You two should get together. We could be one big happy family." I spit out my tea again. I wanted to bang my head against the wall. Yesterday, while cleaning toilets, I'd been so frustrated that I went to Ethan to complain about Miss Morrison, about how the company owners exploited workers, paying us $4,050 salaries while making us do work that even manual laborers would reject. Ethan had said, "If you don't want to do it, just quit." But that was my livelihood. I was just venting, not actually planning to quit. When my eyes met Ethan's, I inhaled sharply. This was like a bad soap opera. Why would a CEO be cleaning toilets and scrubbing bathroom bowls? Seeing my shocked expression, Ethan's lips curved into an enigmatic smile. Surprised? I nodded instinctively, my mind racing with 1,000 questions. Emma Walsh. Oh, Emma Walsh. Nothing could be more mortifying than this moment. God, just strike me down now. Throughout dinner, I was the perfect hostess, pouring tea, serving water, being incredibly attentive to Ethan, this hidden big boss, terrified that one wrong move would get me fired. That night, I clung to Marcus's leg in despair. "Marcus, you're our only hope for getting rich now." Marcus kicked me off. Pathetic. The next moment, Marcus was the one getting beaten up, sporting a black eye and frantically looking for somewhere to hide. Ethan truly was CEO material. Maybe knowing his true identity made me see him through rose-colored glasses. Like now, as our entire team sat in the conference room for a meeting, he commanded the front of the room with natural leadership presence, delivering his presentation with confidence and eloquence. When he finished, Rachel immediately burst into enthusiastic applause. I glanced at Ethan on stage and caught him looking at me, too. My heart skipped a beat. Oh no, I couldn't meet his eyes anymore. He was the big boss behind everything, and I was the only one in the company who knew. The pressure was overwhelming. Rachel was the team lead's assistant. She didn't like me and always assigned me the heaviest workloads, forcing me to work overtime constantly. Today, Ethan needed to stay late to perfect his presentation, and I also had to stay because of Rachel's impossible assignments. Eventually, it was just Ethan and me left in the entire office. To make up for my previous unprofessional behavior, I sat up straight with intense focus, trying to look like the perfect employee. After what felt like hours, Ethan walked over and showed me his phone. "It's 10 p.m. Aren't you leaving?" I put on my best innocent act, pretending I hadn't realized how late it was. "Oh wow, it's so late already? Time really flies." Actually, I'd been dying to leave. I'd checked my watch every 30 minutes, then glanced at Ethan. But he seemed glued to his chair. I couldn't leave while the hidden big boss was still working. "The building locks at 10 p.m. You should head home," he said helpfully. I swear he was doing this on purpose. There was definitely a hint of amusement in his eyes. I laughed awkwardly. Haha, I'll head out right now. You go first. He raised an eyebrow. Are you afraid of me? No, no! I shook my head vigorously like a bobblehead. He tilted his chin up slightly, his voice carrying the fatigue of a long workday. He leaned down, bracing himself on my desk, studying me closely. No, your expression tells me you're definitely afraid of me. Don't lean so close. You're making me nervous. I pressed back in my chair, trying to create some distance. No, you're so handsome and kind, even personally handling toilet cleaning duties. You're so approachable. Why would I be afraid of you? I don't know if he was genuinely clueless or playing dumb, but he repeated, No, you're afraid of me. I gave up and admitted defeat. Fine, I'm afraid you'll fire me. Ethan looked genuinely confused. Why would I fire you? He leaned even closer and I shut my mouth, refusing to say another word. This could go on forever if I kept explaining. Suddenly, I caught a familiar scent, the same cologne Olivia had given me. My face grew warm. I'd been a rich girl once upon a time and knew my perfumes. This was definitely the same couple's fragrance set. Why is your face so red? I might have been imagining it, but there seemed to be a flash of mischief in his eyes, like I was his prey. He kept moving closer. I jumped up and stepped back, breaking the intimate atmosphere. It's hot in here. I fanned myself to prove the heat was making me red. Oh, but it's not that warm today, is it? I immediately stopped fanning myself. Fine, I gave up the act. He was gentleman enough to drive me home. In the car, he asked again, Why would I fire you? On the weekend, Marcus had the brilliant idea to go on a picnic. A picnic? What a great activity! I bundled up in my mom's prized green winter coat, braided my hair into 2 plaits, and topped it off with a vintage hat. Standing in front of the full-length mirror, I admired how I could look stunning even in a bulky green coat. Though I grew up privileged with parents who forced me to learn piano, chess, calligraphy, and painting, I was rebellious and always did the opposite of what they wanted. I was either getting into fights or sticking gum in people's hair. When other parents came to complain, my parents would stand there with sticks, unsure whether to beat me or not. In Marcus's eyes, I was just a big sister with wild ideas and even wilder execution. I wrapped the coat tighter around myself, staying perfectly warm without any wind getting through. Marcus looked at me in disbelief. You're wearing that? Marcus had been chased by girls since childhood and always dressed fashionably, even in cold weather, like he was going to a photo shoot, unlike me, who prioritized warmth over style. I bounced around, struggling to move my arms in the thick coat, and hooked them around his neck with great effort. Come on, let's go. I can't wait. The handsome guy was speechless. Same flashy Maybach as always. Marcus said it would take over an hour to reach our destination and suggested I nap. I didn't need to be told twice. I fell asleep almost immediately after getting in. When we arrived, Marcus shook me awake. We're here. Get out. He handed me tissues. I groggily wiped away drool and took the tissues. Oh, we're here. After cleaning up the drool, I caught a whiff of something. Ugh, stale. As I was getting out, someone else emerged from the back seat. I looked closely and shouted, What are you doing here? When did you get in? Ethan pulled his jacket tighter and glanced at me with slight disapproval. While you were talking in your sleep, I was mortified. How embarrassing. I went over and kicked Marcus. Why didn't you wake me up? My brother looked innocent. You're cranky when you wake up. I didn't dare. He actually aired my dirty laundry in front of Ethan. After saying this, he ran off to Olivia for cuddles and kisses. Ugh, disgusting to watch. So Marcus had this side to him too. I had to get photos to send to our parents. Text to parents, your lovesick son has been delivered. Reply, received. I rolled my eyes and was about to send more when someone tapped my shoulder. Your brother assigned us a task. We need to collect firewood, Ethan said, pointing at the two lovebirds in the distance. I laughed awkwardly. Okay. Ethan gave a quiet, I put my phone away and followed him to collect firewood. This wasn't the picnic I'd imagined, having to gather our own wood. Ugh, carrying wood piece by piece was exhausting, so I borrowed a three-wheeler cart. Ethan pointed at it. Can you ride that? I puffed out my chest proudly. I can even drive it. Ethan looked skeptical. I loaded the wood and declared, put the firewood on first. Soon, we'd filled half the cart. I climbed into the driver's seat and patted the empty spot beside me. Get on. Ethan seemed reluctant, shaking his head with an expression that suggested he thought I might murder him. I grabbed his arm. Don't worry, I've been driving these since I was little. Hearing this, he reluctantly climbed on, gripping the side rail tightly, his voice slightly shaky. Drive slowly. We're not in a rush. I grinned and turned to talk to him. Don't worry, you're my boss. Even if we crash, I'll protect you from any harm. Ethan's eye twitched. Just focus on driving and stop talking. You got it. Ethan probably couldn't handle it, but I didn't care. It was rare to get out like this, and I felt like a wild horse that had broken free, shouting with joy. I yelled into the wind, woohoo! I felt amazing and carefree. In the end, Ethan climbed off with shaky legs. To butter him up, I volunteered to handle the grilling. During the barbecue, Olivia showed me something on her phone. A crystal clear photo of me driving the three-wheeler with Ethan, capturing his pale expression and my triumphant grin perfectly. I laughed so hard I nearly choked on my food, pointing at Ethan's terrified expression in the photo. Ha ha ha, your brother is hilarious. I couldn't stop laughing until I noticed Ethan staring at me coldly. I immediately shut up. Why'd you stop laughing? It's so funny. I've never seen my brother look like that, Olivia encouraged, still fanning the flames. Of course, she wasn't worried. That was her brother who'd take care of her for life. My situation was different. My brother depended on her to advance his career, so our positions were precarious. Big Boss's embarrassing moments were better laughed at privately, at home. Ahem. I suddenly remembered something sad, so I can't laugh anymore. Olivia pressed, What sad thing? I scratched my head. Oh, just the struggles of working life. Olivia jumped in. Not enough salary, right? I'll ask my brother to give you a raise. My eyes lit up. Really? You're amazing, sister-in-law. I reached out and hugged my benefactor tightly. In the slightly chilly breeze, I caught Ethan's subtle smile. The weather didn't seem so cold anymore. Back at the company, Mr. Morrison informed me of a 3-0 salary increase, saying my recent overtime performance deserved this raise. Seeing Rachel's furious expression, I smugly raised an eyebrow at her. She was even angrier. After work, she came over with a huge stack of files, ordering me around. These need to be finished today. Was she bullying me? Did she think I was a pushover? I examined my nails with an attitude. Rachel, these aren't my responsibilities. I've finished what I'm supposed to do, Rachel snapped. If I say you do it, you do it. Her tone was harsh, as if I'd personally offended her. I wasn't having it. She'd been bullying me for too long, and I wasn't the helpless newbie anymore. I grabbed my bag and walked past her. I only listened to the team leader. He gave me a specific amount of work today. I finished it, and now it's time to go home. Bye. Walking past Ethan's desk, I caught him trying to suppress a smile. Oh, wait. I suddenly remembered. I still had toilet duty. I brought over a chair and sat next to Ethan, What? He looked up. Waiting for you. We cleaned toilets together, remember? Only I would form a team for toilet cleaning duty. Ethan glanced at the fuming Rachel, then leaned over and whispered in my ear. Quite the rebel. I took it as a compliment. My face reddened slightly. My ears tingled, like something was about to burst out. Hee hee, thanks for the compliment. When most people had left the office, Ethan and I got up to clean the restrooms. I realized that a man working seriously at anything, no matter what it was, had an attractive quality. Like Ethan now, even cleaning toilets, he looked good doing it. My heart beat faster, and an inexplicable emotion welled up. Emma Walsh, control yourself. Love won't pay the bills. Focus on your career. I patted my chest, but after a moment thought, forget it. If I can't control it, might as well go for it. After all, I wanted to land a rich guy too. They say there are 3 things you can't hide: coughs, poverty, and love. I never understood before, but now I was beginning to get it. Emotions are completely irrational. I couldn't control it. Even if someone put a pile of cash in front of me, I'd still steal glances at Ethan. I'd been caught staring before, and he'd deliberately come over to tease me. Next time you stare, I'll pluck your eyes out. I was so scared, trying to resist looking. But I noticed I wasn't the only one staring at Ethan. Several office girls regularly threw obvious flirtatious looks his way. I got mad. Why couldn't I look at handsome guys? I was going to look. I boldly joined the Ethan watching squad, though, unlike them, I wasn't skilled at flirting. Do you like staring at me that much? Ethan had somehow appeared beside me, leaning close in an extremely intimate manner. I scratched my ticklish ear from his breath, my face reddening. Who's staring at you? I stammered in response, earning another mocking laugh from Ethan. I'd noticed he really enjoyed teasing me lately. Actually, not just lately. He'd always enjoyed it. I just hadn't realized. Ethan, do you like me? I wasn't being conceited. It's just that since joining the company, Ethan had been cold and distant with everyone else, but different with me. Every time he made me blush, he'd smile. When he caught me staring, he'd still smile. Even when I drooled during lunch naps and he walked by, despite his disgusted tisk-ting, he'd still smile. Ethan looked at me with exasperation, then said seriously, "You really are delusionally confident? But having confidence is good." I realized he was mocking my overconfidence, and I was so angry I could bite something. But I didn't dare argue back with all those beautiful eyes watching us in the office. Plus, he was my boss. Sob. Thanks for the compliment, I said with a fake smile. Honestly, I felt hurt. He could have said anything else, but calling me delusionally confident, even though it was probably true, hearing it from him somehow felt painful. That day, Olivia invited me shopping. Looking at the designer bags that cost half my annual salary, while she casually picked up whatever caught her eye without hesitation, spending money like water, I grabbed her arm. Don't be so rigid about gender roles. Consider me too. Olivia pushed me away with disgust and said haughtily, I have your brother. That's enough. Great. I wanted to trade places with Marcus. When I got home, I hugged his leg again. He kicked me off. Stop hugging me. If you want to hug someone, hug the guy behind you. He gave me a meaningful look and pointed behind me. I turned around, confused. Holy crap, when did Ethan get to my house? And I was wearing my grandmother's Northeastern-style floral coat, bright and garish. Without makeup, I looked like an old lady. How are you here? I patted down my wrinkled coat and walked over. Is that not okay? He countered. It's fine. He nodded approvingly and swaggered into the kitchen. What's he acting so superior about? Just because he has money? Though he'd never explicitly said he didn't like me, his tone and words that day clearly indicated he didn't. I'm the type who can let things go easily. If I can't cling to this rich guy, I'll find another. I took out my phone and snapped photos of the two men in the kitchen, sending them to Olivia. This ship is worth sailing. Get over here quick. Olivia sent back a lewd emoji and demanded more photos, replying she'd be right over. Olivia and I bonded so quickly entirely because we both loved shipping couples. We had the same hobby, creating romantic scenarios between people, and even shared recommendations for the most heart-wrenching audio dramas. "Emma Walsh, come help us," Marcus called from the kitchen in his calm voice. I put down my phone and went over. These two grown men couldn't handle cleaning fish. I rolled up my sleeves and knocked the fish out with one blow. Marcus was used to this, but Ethan stared in shock. I winked at him smugly. Pretty impressive, right? Ethan stared for a long moment before nodding. I turned around and made a face, feeling embarrassed about how unladylike that must have looked. I wasn't needed after that. The two men took over. Marcus always cooked well, which is probably how he won Olivia's heart. After we finished eating, they went to wash dishes while Olivia and I enjoyed wine and dessert in the living room. I'm a lightweight. One glass and I'm done. But Olivia's wine was so good that I had another glass. Feeling tipsy, I told her about all the young guys I'd been chatting with online and how much fun our conversations were. Olivia got interested and insisted on video calling one of them, a recent college graduate. Ring, ring. After 2 rings, a pure, innocent voice answered, "Big sister." Olivia and I got instant chills from his sweet voice. "Little brother," I replied with a silly giggle. "Big sister, what are you doing?" he asked. Olivia covered her mouth to stay quiet, gesturing for me to be bolder. I was already tipsy and feeling reckless, speaking without thinking. "I'm thinking about you." In my mind, I saw Ethan's subtly smiling face, and I even reached out for a hug. I regretted it the next day. I really needed to stop drinking so much. Looking at the college kid waiting downstairs with a big smile, I awkwardly approached him. "Hi, big sister." I replied unnaturally, "Hi." His smile made me feel guilty. I'd had plenty of opportunities to clear things up today, but Ethan had been acting weird, constantly mocking and challenging me, making me too anxious to focus. Even during lunch break, when I usually napped, I spent the time working diligently. Rachel walked over, looking between him and me with a sneer. "Oh, another new boyfriend? So nosy." I couldn't help rolling my eyes at her. I walked up to the handsome guy. "Come on, big sister will treat you to dinner." The pretty boy was definitely cat-like, soft and sweet-looking, triggering my maternal instincts. Just as I was about to leave with him, Ethan walked between us with a sour expression. "Excuse me," Ethan said curtly. "Me?" After dinner with the pretty boy, Marcus personally came to pick me up. "Why aren't you with your girlfriend? How do you have time to get me?" I got in the car. Marcus glanced at the pretty boy walking away, then gave me a meaningful look. "Didn't know you played the field so much." I was speechless. "Then why didn't you stop me last night? You just stood there watching me make a fool of myself?" My heartless brother just let me embarrass myself in front of a stranger. Wine really does go to your head, especially for someone like me who gets drunk off one glass. If only I could forget what happened last night. But unfortunately, I remembered every mortifying detail. Thinking back to last night, little brother, big sister is sad. Could you come have dinner with big sister tomorrow? I'd said this while clinging to Ethan, refusing to let go. But the guy on the phone took it seriously. "Big sister, I'll pick you up after work tomorrow." Olivia had been clapping and cheering while I drunkenly agreed. That's how the poor innocent guy ended up taking it seriously. I felt terrible about deceiving him. Could one dinner really make up for crushing someone's pure heart? Just as I was feeling guilty about potentially hurting the sweet boy, I texted him to let him know I'd gotten home safely. But he texted back, "Big sister, Let's just delete each other. Me? Pretty boy. Big sister, I don't want to say this to your face, but what kind of trashy restaurant did you take me to? The whole meal was under 200. I thought you were a sugar mama. Plus, you're broke and carrying a fake LV bag. Let's delete each other and not contact again. Wow. So he thought I was a sugar mama. That dinner tonight cost me 10 days' salary. And he still complained I was broke? I was deeply hurt. Fine. Very good. And what was wrong with his eyes? He couldn't tell real LV from fake? I couldn't sleep that night, wondering what made the most money. But everything highly profitable was illegal. The next day, I showed up with panda eyes, and Olivia loudly teased me. Emma, looks like you had quite the night. She emphasized quite with extra bite. I ignored her. She was like this, finding entertainment in mocking me every day. I'd been deliberately avoiding Ethan lately. I don't know if it was my own stubborn emotions, but I'd run the other way whenever I saw him. Since learning he was the secret big boss, I'd been arriving 15 minutes early every day, hoping to make a good impression, though any good impression was probably long gone by now. One day, while taking out trash, I ran into Ethan in the elevator coming back from an external meeting. I nodded as a greeting, then hunched in the corner, trying to keep maximum distance between us, or better yet, avoid being alone with him entirely. Murphy's Law struck. The elevator suddenly jolted, shook, and went black. Ugh! Oh no! I screamed and rushed forward to hug Ethan tightly. Ethan's body tensed. Then he turned and held me, patting my head. Don't be afraid. The elevator fell silent except for our breathing. Ethan's chest rose and fell with strong, steady heartbeats. Thump, 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 powerful and reassuring. I never would have guessed that beneath his lean, scholarly appearance, his chest would be so solid and warm, radiating heat that warmed my cheeks. Actually, the jolt and shake had only startled me for a moment. Now, feeling his presence beside me, I felt completely safe and secure. My heart was pounding frantically at the bottom of my chest. Emma? His voice rumbled from above my head. I made a soft sound. I felt like we were surrounded by infinite pink bubbles, and I was completely absorbed in the atmosphere when he shattered it the next second. How much longer are you planning to hold me? I blushed furiously and quickly pulled my head out of his embrace. Cough, cough. The elevator opened. Under everyone's stares, I bolted like a rabbit. After that, I avoided Ethan even more desperately. He even came to my house to confront me. Have you been avoiding me lately? Wasn't that obvious? He frowned. Why? Didn't you say you liked me? How can you change so quickly? First dating pretty boys, then avoiding me like the plague. Is your affection really that fleeting? He sounded like a resentful spouse. Of course, I still like you. You're rich and handsome. But you called me delusionally confident. I looked away awkwardly and mumbled, I don't want to be a simp. He frowned at me, and I thought he was about to mock me again when suddenly, what's a simp? I was too lazy to explain and didn't want to waste words, so I pulled up the definition on my phone. Dealing with guys like him, technical definitions worked better. I watched his frown deepen, then slowly relax. Oh, so that's what a simp is. Now I know what to do. Me? What are you planning to do? I might have been imagining it, but Ethan's behavior seemed to shift recently. He specifically told me, I give you permission to stare at me. Me? Even when he caught me staring, he'd grin at me and nod like some old-fashioned gentleman. It was kind of creepy. He even liked and commented on every single one of my social media posts. Seeing 99+ notifications on my phone, I marched over to confront him. Ethan, what are you trying to do? Don't give me hope and then slap me down. My heart can't handle this emotional roller coaster. I was terrified it might just give out. Ethan narrowed his eyes. looking slightly uncomfortable. Being a simp, I was stunned. What? He cleared his throat and moved closer, quickly whispering, I want to be your simp. Like a bolt from the blue. What did I do to deserve having the big boss simp for me? I quickly waved my hands. No, that won't work. His expression darkened. Are you rejecting me? I stammered incoherently. No, that's not what I meant. Then what do you mean? He demanded. Do you really like that pretty boy? I shook my head vigorously. No. His expression softened slightly. I took a deep breath and went for broke. Ethan, do you actually like me? This time I asked with much more confidence, because I had my fists ready to throw punches. If he mocked me for being delusionally confident again, this job could go to hell. He looked at me deeply, then quietly said, Yes. I got even angrier. Then why did you call me delusionally confident before? I was hurt for a whole day. He looked confused. Doesn't delusionally confident mean thinking you're ordinary, but still being confident? Having confidence is good. I was complimenting you. So you think I'm ordinary? They say women in love become irrational, but I wasn't even dating him yet, and I was already nitpicking everything he said. He stared at me like he couldn't believe how confrontational I was being. I think you're beautiful. Much later, he smiled. And I smiled too. Ethan leaned down. Not angry anymore? I hummed non-committally. He patted my head. Emma, I've never been in a relationship before. You have to be good to me. The fool. I was the master of playing hard to get, and he'd fallen right into my trap. I patted his shoulder. Buddy, I won't let you down. His eyes darkened, and I caught a flash of shrewdness. He pulled me into his arms, his voice slightly husky. Good. You said it. A month later, watching Marcus pull up in yet another sports car, I grabbed his ear. Can you be a little more frugal? Don't you feel bad spending money that isn't yours? Marcus looked at me indignantly, wincing. This is money I earned myself. I'm not even upset about it. Why are you? I was dumbfounded. Marcus explained that he and Ethan had been working together for a while. Ethan was an investor, and they'd started a company together. Those luxury skincare products were promotional items from brand partners. He'd noticed I liked that brand and brought home a whole box for me. Marcus continued, I wasn't planning to tell you, but Ethan, your boyfriend, stopped me. He said since you worked at his company, he wanted more opportunities to get close to you. He scratched his head, looking conflicted. I understood completely. Fine. Boyfriend now, was it? They were clearly in cahoots. Ethan was way too good at acting. Was it too late to find a new boyfriend? Ethan's perspective. Olivia was dating someone. My sister took our mother's surname, while I took our father's. I learned she was with Emma's brother, Marcus Walsh. I was confused. Hadn't their family just gone bankrupt? Why did Marcus seem completely unaffected? Later, I discovered he was trying to start a company and looking for investors everywhere. I had Olivia introduce us. I became the investor. He handled management. Marcus and Emma had been my schoolmates. Marcus was academically excellent and handsome, often invited to give speeches on stage. While everyone's attention focused on him, while everyone cheered for him, I found myself uncontrollably drawn to Emma instead. After school, I'd often see the siblings playfully fighting. Marcus was clearly the popular one. During their roughhousing, other students would swarm around him. Emma would get pushed aside and fall down. I quickly went over to help her up. She smiled and thanked me. I still remember her bright eyes crinkling when she smiled, showing a little canine tooth. Even after falling, she'd bounce right back up. Seeing the warmth she radiated instantly made me feel better. I wasn't much of a talker, but I really wanted to speak with her. Unfortunately, Throughout our school years, I rarely had chances to be alone with her. Until later, when I encountered her at my family's company. She was absolutely adorable, stealing glances at me constantly. I'd pretend to be fierce and threaten. If you keep staring, I'll pluck your eyes out. Sure enough, she'd shrink back like a little rabbit, explosively cute. When she asked if I liked her, I panicked, but I tried to stay composed. I didn't realize delusionally confident had negative connotations. I'd always thought describing someone as having delusions of confidence was praise. No wonder she started avoiding me the next day, becoming distant. When I saw her with that pretty boy, I started panicking and even called Marcus to pick her up immediately. I couldn't sleep that night and went straight to her house to get clarity. But she said she didn't want to be a simp. What was a simp? After learning the definition, I knew what to do. If she didn't want to be one, then I'd be hers. The end.